The kiss was deepening into something world-shaking when a frantic, rhythmic pounding erupted against the door. Ryan ignored it, his hand tightening in Amanda's hair, but she pressed her palms against his chest, gasping for air. "Ryan! Someone's there. Stop." Ryan stopped. He growled as he walks towards the door, his eyes dark with a dangerous heat. "I am going to murder whoever is on that door," he said under his breath. He ripped his hand through his hair and stalked toward the door like a predator whose meal had just been stolen. He flung the door open, ready to unleash hell, but froze. All of his personal bodyguards were lined up in the hallway, dropped to their knees in a perfect, synchronized line. "Sir, we deserve to be executed," the lead guard shouted, slamming his forehead against the floor. "We left you alone during the attack. Our lives are yours to take." Ryan didn't look touched by their loyalty. He looked like he wanted to set the hallway on fire. "You're damn right your lives are mine," Ryan hissed, his voice trembling with the sheer frustration of being interrupted. He slammed the door in their faces, turned back into the room, and walked straight to a lacquered cabinet. Amanda watched, confused, until he pulled out a custom-grade tactical assault rifle. "Ryan, what are you doing?" Amanda shrieked. "I'm going to give them exactly what they asked for," Ryan snapped, checking the magazine with a terrifyingly expert clack. He stormed out of the room. Amanda, panicked and still wearing his oversized shirt, scrambled after him. Downstairs, the bodyguard saw Ryan descending the marble staircase with a rifle, and for a split second the house was silent. Then they saw Amanda, disheveled, wearing Ryan's shirt and looking horrified. The guards froze. They weren't just looking at their boss. They were looking at a man who had clearly been in the middle of something very private. "Run," the lead guard whispered to his men. Nobody had to say it twice. The bodyguards scrambled up, tripping over each other in a desperate dash for the exit. They piled into their SUVs and zoomed off, the tires screeching on the driveway like they were fleeing a war zone. Ryan stood on the porch, rifle lowered, watching them go with a murder instinct in his eyes. Before he could turn to Amanda, his phone vibrated. He checked the screen, and his expression shifted. The humor and anger vanished, replaced by a cold, corporate focus. "Amanda," he said, turning to her. "Wait for me, something urgent has come up. I'll be back in 20 minutes. 20 minutes turned into hours. Amanda tried to stay awake, but the adrenaline of the shooting and the emotional whiplash finally took their toll. She curled up on the couch and fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. When Ryan finally returned, the house was silent. He found her, small, tucked into his shirt, looking completely peaceful. He stood over her for a long time, his gaze softening in a way that would have terrified his shareholders. He carefully scooped her up, his bandaged arm twinging with pain, and carried her to his bedroom. He tucked her in, intending to go back to work, but the cool chill was gone. He sat at the edge of the bed, watching her breathe, until his own eyes grew heavy and he drifted off beside her. The next morning, Amanda woke with a violent jerk, sunlight blinding her. She glanced at the clock on the nightstand, 8:45 a.m. "I'm late, I'm so dead." She scrambled out of bed, her mind racing. She was a worker. She had a boss who wasn't Ryan. She reported to the HR department, and they would eat her ears off for this. She rushed to pack her clothes, stumbling over the massive shirt. She ran into the hallway and practically collided with Ryan, who was standing there holding a cup of coffee, looking annoyingly refreshed. "Why didn't you wake me up?" she shouted, her short temper hitting 100% immediately. "Amanda, I can just call them." "Don't you dare call them," she snapped, already zooming toward the door. "I'm earning my way, not riding your coattails." She vanished down the stairs before he could say another word, leaving the most powerful man in the city standing alone in his hallway, staring at his coffee and wondering how a girl half his size had just talked to him like that. He let out a small, genuine laugh. "Yeah," he whispered. "She's definitely the one." Amanda didn't just run, she sprinted. When she flung the front door open, her parents were standing in the living room, their faces etched with a night's worth of worry. Her father opened his mouth to demand an explanation, but Amanda didn't even look at him. She didn't offer a greeting, a sorry, or a single word. She was a silent, frantic blur as she bolted past them and slammed her bedroom door. Her father stood frozen, fuming with a fresh layer of indignation. "Did she just ignore me? Her mother, however, saw the hint. She noticed the messy hair and the glow behind the exhaustion. She smiled at her husband's anger. "Relax," she said softly. "Our daughter finally has a boyfriend." "A boyfriend?" her father exploded, his voice shaking the walls. By the time Amanda reached the office, she was prepared to be buried alive. She had never been this late, and her mind raced with imagined scoldings. She stood before her team leader's desk, head bent low, bracing for the shout that would surely come. But instead, the leader looked up, his expression calm, almost unusually forgiving. "You're just in time, Amanda," he said, gesturing to a group of young interns waiting nearby. Amanda blinked, confused. She had expected a lecture, maybe even a warning, but nothing. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized someone must have made sure the consequences wouldn't hit her today. The thought made her cheeks warm slightly. Ryan, it had to be him. "You'll be supervising the interns today," the leader continued. "They're new, so you'll have your hands full. A deal's a deal. Whoever arrives last handles them, and you're the lucky one." Amanda's lips pressed into a thin line as she nodded, inwardly smirking. Ryan had done it again, making life just a little easier for her, even when she thought she was on her own.